Welcome to my neighborhood and welcome to teaching the present perfect to speakers of Spanish. Teaching the present perfect to speakers of Spanish has its complications. First of all, because there's variation in when, in which context, which situation to use the present perfect in English between dialects, even between prestigious standards. For example, quick example in English, it's acceptable to say something like, I'm not a fan of big dogs. Sorry, that's not the example. The example is, in English, it's acceptable to say, I've just called you 5 minutes ago. In American English, that sounds weird. You have to say, I just called you 5 minutes ago. Alright. Second, that's not even counting all the non-standard peculiarities of the present perfect, where it can be conjugated in a different way and so on. Okay, the second problem is the first language of the student, Spanish. Alright, this is a complex one because depending on dialect, first of all, the tense that would be like most similar, morphologically speaking, to the present perfect would be what we call in Spanish the pretérito perfecto. Yo he comido, etc. Okay, now, first of all, the context of usage of this tense is not equivalent to the context of usage in English, whatever dialect. So that's a source of confusion. Second, in some dialects of Spanish, this is the context, depending on the dialect of Spanish, the context of use of this tense can vary considerably, and in some dialects, it's barely used at all. Or it's used for a very specific context. For example, me and to a larger extent, like my parents, people from other parts of and who are not originally from Buenos Aires, for example, they use it, but they don't use it like they use it in Spain. These are for certain very specific situations. I call it the tense of moral indignation because, for example, is the tense you use when you say, nunca me ha pasado algo así, right? That's never happened to me. Kind of giving the meaning that, well, and it's an outrage. All right. And like I said, a lot of people in certain dialects practically don't use it at all, which is the case with a lot of people right here in Buenos Aires, especially younger people. Alright, so those are some of the problems. You basically have to teach it in such a way that the student can basically like carve a new place for this tense. And the best way to do this is in context, starting with certain uses and then extending it. One of the, usually the one that's used at the beginning in the materials, which is not a bad idea because it's one of the most canonical uses, and it is in use with a certain frequency, is like the old have you been, like have you ever been to Paris, and so on. Yes, I've been to Paris. So keep this in mind if you have to teach the present perfect to your students and your students happen to speak Spanish. Catch you guys later. Hit me up with any questions you might have.